Today on The Real Fan Review, we get you some movie news from the week, and we'll give you our complete spoiler on It Chapter 2. Welcome to The Real Fan Review. What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. And today with me, we got my boy Sanj.
Hello, everyone. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
We also got our man in the chair, Al, here today.
How you doing, everybody?
And today we're going to get into some movie news, get into some It Chapter 2. And I understand that we all got a chance to see it now.
Yes, we did.
And it's going to be crazy to talk about that movie because there's a lot of little things, little scenes that were in that movie. I think some things to discuss about the way that it really, really felt because we did the spoiler-free one last week. And it was hard. It was tough to actually get into the movie. You had a couple questions there that had me like, oh, do I say anything? So we'll give you the complete spoiler edition today.
Yeah.
It'll be fun after this for me to, after we talk about this, go back and listen to our last episode to like get back into that mind space to see like, oh, okay, that's what they meant. Or
Exactly, man. And real quick, before we get into the movie news and everything like that, just want to again make sure that everyone knows you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, on Facebook. We're also located at the realfanreview.com. That's our website that our man in the chair, Al, made for us. You guys can follow us there. Where our podcasts are pretty much on everything on Google Play.
Just Google The Real Fan
If you
Review,
Google us, you'll find us.
and it'll come up
Absolutely.
in so many different places. Just click.
Absolutely. And you guys can email us too. Email us any kind of questions, thoughts, or something you want us to talk about. So
Our T-shirt offer is still good.
all right,
We're down to 2 T-shirts
Yeah.
because I said I'd do 3.
All right.
And we did 1, and we got 2 more to go.
There we go. We got 2 T-shirts to go for the next people who email us anything there. And so just in the movie news kind of thing, man, I saw that James Gunn put a tweet out there and he listed some of these characters that he wants for his that are in his Suicide Squad movie that he's making. And I don't know, there's a couple of names that surprised me, and there was a name that was left off that's like pissing off a lot of people. But John Cena is in this movie.
Really? Yeah, because when you told me that John Cena was in it too, I said, what? Who's he playing?
Exactly. I'm so confused by all of this, but that's interesting. Joel Kinnaman is back. He was I think, Sergeant Flag from the first one. Nathan Fillion. I know who he is. He's like a popular actor. Everyone wanted him from Uncharted.
Yeah. He would have been great for Uncharted, but
Yeah.
I don't know. The names keep making me wonder.
Who are they playing? What? He got his brother in there. Sean Gunn is in there. Let's see who else. Anybody stand? Oh, Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. Yeah, I got $50 that he's being offed in the first 10 minutes. Any other? Taika Waititi?
He's playing a character in the movie?
He's a character in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good director, but
He's good director, good actor. He's funny as hell. So
okay.
That'd be pretty funny, man. And let's see anybody else standing out there.
Margot Robbie's still there.
Margot
right?
Robbie's there.
That's
man.
all I'm interested in.
Viola Davis is back. Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
Yondu. He's back.
I love that guy. I just think about how he delivers the lines, and I just like start
How's
laughing.
he do the daddy thing?
Just he may have been your father, but I was your daddy.
And then a big name that's on there, man, Idris Elba.
Anything with Idris Elba.
Yeah, he's fantastic, man. I'm willing to see anything in the man. So
I mean, Idris is out there doing movies. He's doing music.
yeah.
Hasn't he been doing something? Did he direct something as well? I feel like
Most
I heard
likely,
something
man.
like that.
Most of these actors now, they get into that directing or they get into some other field.
No, but he's
too.
just out there doing everything.
Dude,
Everything.
His verse in that UK song is
I
it
write my
boasty?
own lines, no ghosty. No, his verse in it is
good.
is wicked.
What's the name? Is it boasty?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man, crazy.
Godfather, none of toasty.
Well, on IMDb, I looked up the cast, and
Yeah.
John Cena is actually playing a character named Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. You know, that's what, we miss Brandon today. Brandon's not here with us today. Brandon's
Yeah,
my
he has a
brother.
lot of that knowledge.
Yeah, he
on
knows
the
most of
comics.
these guys for
Yeah.
the DC guys. So maybe next week we'll get him to talk about that also.
Nah, but it just he had put out a video, just like a random like Instagram video or something like that,
Right.
where he was like saying like, don't let anybody, if you're an actor or if you're a writer or an accountant and you want to be a skydiver or you want to be, if you're something and you want to be something else,
Right.
don't let somebody tell you that you can't. He's like, anything you want to do, just go do it.
Exactly.
And it was like one of the most inspirational things that I've ever seen. And it was like, you know what, yo, hell yeah, Idris, thank you,
Right.
thanks Idris.
Now we're doing a podcast.
Now we're doing a podcast.
Oh man. And then the second bit of news to talk about really quick, if you guys know the director Paul Feig, I'm not sure. Him and the guy from Marvel, always that last name destroys me, man. Feig. So anyway, Paul Feig, he's a popular director. He did A Simple Favor. He did I think he did Ghostbusters, but definitely he's known for Bridesmaid. Apparently the Universal's giving him access to the monsters from the Universal Studios there, and he's making a movie called The Dark Army. Al, any kind of like interest in that? Because I know they tried to do the whole Dark Universe and they kind of like set that back. Now they're doing Dark Army.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. It wasn't a great movie, but I did like the visuals of the Mummy reboot with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it looked good.
So definitely there was potential there, depending on how into the lore they go. Like, are you going to bring in a Van Helsing? Like, who are going to be the good guys fighting them? You know, are you going to do individual movies, I guess, like Marvel and everybody to build them up? You know, it would have been interesting, and to see how true to the story for each of the characters they remain.
Right.
In a modern day and age, like the Frankenstein story now would have been interesting.
Right.
Or would you rather a movie where it's just bad guys fighting each other, for like bad guy to do bad guy stuff?
Maybe, right? I worry with Paul Feig being the director because I'm wondering if it's going to be more of a comedy kind of thing.
I mean, it doesn't always have to be a good versus evil story. I'm like evil versus evil to see who's more evil. Like, you know, like you know.
I hear you, man. But like I said, with him being the guy from Bridesmaid, even A Simple Favor had a couple jokes, comedy in it.
But
I don't know if I really want comedy
it had
for these
levity
guys.
to it at the start to kind of set the mood, but then
Right.
it turned really dark really quick, and then it was very clear that that movie was not a comedy.
No,
very
no.
quickly.
It
So,
had
I mean,
comedy elements, but
it did have
definitely.
comedy elements, but I mean, he shows that versatility where he can tell a story
Yeah,
and add elements of other things.
a very
where-
interesting story.
A very interesting story, exactly, and then add elements of everything else to make it a little bit more realistic. Because if something's going to be a drama, if something's going to be really serious and whatnot, the whole life in general, right? Even when you've got really serious stuff going on, there's still comedy in it. Like, you still
Right.
crack a joke here and there. Even when someone passes away, everybody gets around and still cracking jokes and everything. So that's all part of life. To me, it feels more authentic when you do things that way.
When you have a little laughter.
Yeah,
in
when
it.
you have a little laughter in it, but a little bit of everything. So I think he's really good at doing that. So I wouldn't be too worried.
Right. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about like which monster he's gonna use. I wonder if he's gonna have Frankenstein, Dracula, all in werewolf person, Invisible Man. Who knows?
Well, if they bring in Dracula, like Al was saying, like it would be great to get like Van Helsing. In
Oh
there, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It would be interesting because like the other ones, I really don't know that well. Like Werewolf was their main protagonist to him. Invisible Man, who was his,
Right.
offset in the balance. Like back then, everything was always good and bad. So it'll be interesting because I don't know those stories that well. I know of them, but I never knew the
Right.
lore and
They're
everything.
like legends that we've heard of, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it would have been interesting, especially had the Mummy reboot done well.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. And then
I like Al never throws shade directly. He throws like subtle shade.
little shade.
It would have been great had that done well.
Oh man, and then just real quick, since we're called the movie review, the real fan review, we're gonna review a couple movies here. So just really quick, I know I got a chance to see Hustlers this weekend.
How was it?
Honestly, man, I enjoyed it, man. It was a really good movie, and to be honest with you, man, I'm glad it wasn't strictly just about stripping.
Okay. Yo, I'm here. She's getting, at least Jennifer Lopez specifically, has been
Yeah.
getting a lot of praise for her performance in the movie. Oscar
I don't
worthy
know.
and everything.
Maybe
so-
Oscars, maybe depending on like what else is going up against, because she actually killed it, man.
Yeah.
And she killed it in all aspects. You know, even me and my wife talking about it yesterday when we left the theater. For a 50-year-old woman to just look that part and just kill it in every way, look wise, acting wise. She played the role of this lady Ramona that was in the movie that she played, and she just absolutely took it and ran with it, man.
Okay.
And she killed it, man. She did really great. But we're gonna probably do a more review next week when we get more of the fellas to watch the movie, and then I think my brother's gonna come in on that too. But if I could put it out there, you know, you guys know my rating system is definitely something you should watch. I would say should watch in the theater for Hustlers.
Wow.
It was really, really good. You know, and again, if you're worried about like it being about strippers or anything like that, it really only goes into the stripping thing for like the maybe first 15, 20 minutes, and then it gets into the story. You know, it kind of hits you the background of who they are and what they're doing. But then it gets into the story of what they did and why they did it. So,
Okay.
you know, no spoilers on this one. Just you guys should watch it. It's a really good movie, man.
Quick question, only because I was surprised to
Of
see her
course.
name in the list of the cast. Julia Stiles. She's not playing a stripper, is she?
Not at all. She's in
Okay.
the movie, but she's not a stripper. And her role is
Because
really,
they don't show her in any of the for being such a such a big name, but
Yeah.
being a known name in the industry. I was surprised that she is in not one preview for the movie.
she has a really like, I don't want to say insignificant role, but like she's pretty much just at the end of the movie towards and there's a reason for her being there.
Okay.
But it's nothing to do with the actual like what's going on and what's happening kind of thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but she's in it for sure. And then I know Sanj, I know you saw a movie that I've been trying to see. It's Yesterday.
I did see Yesterday. That is one of the movies that I saw this week. I caught about 3 movies this week. Yesterday, so I am a big fan of music. I mean,
Of
that's kind of
course,
funny to
man.
say, but like music is like really important to me and stuff like that. Coincidentally, I am not a Beatles fan,
Right.
but that's another discussion on another podcast.
Gotcha.
But I did want to see the movie because it revolved around music and you know the catalog of a very, very popular group.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was an excellent movie. Just
Yeah.
overall an excellent movie. I'm not giving anything away by saying this because they say this in the trailers. So the dude gets into an accident and he wakes up and he's the only one that remembers the Beatles. Everyone else doesn't know that the Beatles ever existed, and he has all the Beatles lyrics. So he's a songwriter, an artist and a songwriter, and he's struggling. I mean, he writes okay songs,
Right.
but to be fair, some of the Beatles songs, like their songwriting, some of it is incredible.
It's classic, man. Yeah.
And so if you've got the opportunity to bring that to the world, and you know, so he starts putting out the Beatles music as his own, and you know, he takes off and everything.
Uh-huh.
I gotta say that listening to their music from a different voice and getting more into the songwriting and listening to the lyrics,
The words, man.
and everything, just hearing it from a different voice
Yeah.
changed it a little bit for me.
Right.
And I really, really enjoyed the movie. Of course, there is a love story element to it,
Right.
but it's cute. It's
Yeah.
very cute.
Would you recommend seeing it?
I would definitely recommend seeing it.
Yeah.
You will not have a bad time. You will have a very good time watching the movie. There's an element to the movie that I don't want to give away.
Right. Right.
That when it happens, it'll be very, very endearing
Gotcha.
to anyone that watches the movie. There's an element to the movie. I just don't want to give it away. But yeah, I definitely please see Yesterday.
All right.
You'll have a very good time.
And
then
Alman, go for it.
I did see It too as well.
Oh, so we're about to get into
We're about
that
to get
real
into
quick.
that. Yeah.
All right, now Al, any chance for movies for you?
I did get to catch a Hotel Artemis
Okay.
last night.
I didn't hear about that. What was that about?
It's supposed to be set in the future. It's a hotel that is a front for really a hospital for bad guys.
Okay.
So they
Oh,
pay,
yes,
they
yes, I
pay
remember
for
this now.
membership into the hospital. There's a chip implanted to prove your membership. You get in if, God forbid, you need medical care and you can't go to a regular hospital. But it is set in the future. But what I liked about it was they don't kill you with that it's in the future. Like you could have watched this
So-
movie and thought, with the exception of sometimes when the technology is in the forefront, because it has to be for that particular point of the story.
Right.
They don't kill it. It's not the story. The story isn't they're in the future. Look at all this technology. The future is the interactions between the people and what's happening. Basically, a riot breaks out outside of the hotel. You know, the boss who owns this hotel is now having to come. And just the cast, I mean, Jodie Foster plays the main character, the main nurse. Dave Bautista is the orderly for the hospital.
Yeah, I seen the preview for that one. Man.
Zachary Quinto is like the son of the main guy. What was his name? He played the Fly. You told me.
Oh, that's Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum is the main.
Jeff Goldblum is a national treasure.
Oh, forget it.
What do you think, man?
I didn't think. I knew. I mean, looking at that cast,
yeah,
you're expecting a great movie. It's not a great movie,
right?
But it will entertain you. I'm glad I waited till it came out on DVD to watch it instead of going to the movie theater.
Right.
But it is a good movie. You are going to get sucked into the story. Also, the guy from This Is Us.
Milo Ventimiglia.
No,
Ventimiglia.
no, not
Sterling Brown.
Sterling Brown.
Sterling K. Brown, yeah.
Yeah, he's in there.
He's a good actor, too. I like
He's
him.
fantastic,
great.
man.
Oh, great.
Wait, did he cry in the movie?
He teared up.
Yeah, he's famous for that, man. My man can tear up with the best of them,
But,
man.
I mean, listen, This Is Us, like, be catching you, bro.
Oh,
like,
forget
with
it.
the
Dude,
story.
I don't even watch it.
There's times where he just turns around and you just see his eyes. I'm like, bro, don't do it to me today. Come on, man. It's 3 weeks in a row I've cried.
But yeah, no, you'll like it.
Yeah.
I especially, it's funny because he's not the main part of the movie, but Dave Bautista actually impressed me in the movie.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
it was good. It was a good movie.
So, this is basically John Wick 3000.
Not really.
No,
There's not a lot.
I'm just
No, no,
being
yeah.
stupid, like-
There's not a lot of fight scenes, but the interactions between them. There's a growing backstory to Jodie Foster that starts slow. They don't overwhelm you with it, but it starts slow with little flashbacks.
Right.
And then at the end, it pays off as to what actually happened in what's, driving her character. And it was a good payoff. It was a good payoff because they did it subtly. So it was a good movie. Like I said, it's not a great movie.
Right. But something that's just to watch.
But
in
it's
the
definitely
background.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, especially given the cast, it is definitely a good movie. You'll enjoy the hour and a half, 2 hours that you spent watching it.
That's awesome, man. All right, man. So listen, we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes right now.
All right.
We've been waiting for
Wow,
a while to
meat
do
and
this. Well,
potatoes.
let's
Yeah.
do this, man. This
Man.
is it.
How'd you know what I ate today, man?
Lucky you, man.
I actually did have meat and potatoes
Yeah.
as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I had it in curry, but okay. And you can't get more Indian than that. With like roti on the side.
There you go. There you go. So, man, we're gonna get to this It Chapter 2, man, and I've been waiting to talk about this, to
Okay.
get
All
into
right.
the
So now that we're
nitty-gritty.
in It Chapter 2.
Oh, by the way, everyone, you're listening right now. This is complete spoilers. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna discuss this and get into a couple things. So, everyone listening, if you haven't seen it yet, pause us, come back to us, and then we'll get into it together. All right. So here we go.
So what the hell are you guys talking about? It's not a horror movie. That shit was straight horror, bro. Were y'all just trying to throw me off?
I didn't get scared.
I didn't get scared like that, man.
Yeah.
You
I
know
was
what?
terrified.
There was a
I
couple
was
scenes.
terrified the whole time.
Yeah.
The scariest part to me when he killed off that little girl behind the
Yeah.
stands.
Yeah. underneath
When they
the
were
stand.
under the bleachers, and she was chasing the little
Yeah,
firefly.
Yeah. But yo, so much of the movie was them running from or being chased by some sort of demon monstrosity.
But that's what I was saying. Like the old woman, she jumps into that big after the initial jump scare, like it didn't scare me.
It looked so cheesy. It did
Yeah.
look pretty bad. That the old lady and what else looked bad on that thing, man? How about the little kids when they were in the clubhouse? Did you see the CG on Ben and also on
that was the worst one was Ben.
Oh my god, he turned around. I was like, "Why is his face shaking?"
When did it turn into a cartoon? Like,
Oh, dude. But you know what? That's what happened. They I think they waited a little bit of time between the first and the second one. These kids grew up a little bit,
yeah.
so they kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think Finn Wolfhard, the guy that was in Shazam, the kid that was in
just like
Shazam,
Eddie.
Eddie, he grew up a little bit too because he was CGI'd also a little bit.
Oh yeah.
The rest of them weren't CGI'd like Ben and him though.
Mm-hmm.
That was insane. But let's get into the nitty gritty, man. Let's start from that beginning, that brutal opening, man. And at first I was kind of wondering why it was part of the movie, and again it was in the book
I thought
too.
the same thing.
But then
Oh, was it in the book?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in the book for sure. That's something they left off in the TV,
Okay.
the TV movie. But when they did that in the beginning, I honestly felt really uncomfortable watching that.
Yeah.
Man, it was not something that I almost felt like, why they put this in there? Like, this is unnecessary, especially when it doesn't have to do with anything with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
But then we find out later on in the movie that oh shoot, what's the guy who's funny? His name is Richie.
Oh, Richie, yeah.
We find out Richie's been hiding that he's secretly in the closet. So that's kind
And
of
also
like
that he's been in love with his boy.
right. He's been in love with Eddie for the whole. That's why he made so many jokes about Eddie
Yeah.
in the first one and the
Mhm.
second one, which was a real cool tie back. It kind of makes it make sense. In the moment, you're always wondering like, oh, he's just being a clown,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
but
yeah.
secretly he had
No,
this
he
little
was
crush.
compensating, like, or he was trying to,
Yeah, kind of like when a little boy likes a girl, they hit him or they, mess around.
Right.
And,
Absolutely,
except
man.
in this case, a little boy likes a little boy,
Yeah, man.
and that's even harder.
yeah.
Even today, it's still harder.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, listen. Did you see his horrified face when he saw it on the top of what was it? Oh man, I used to love
Oh,
this.
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan, yeah.
Oh my God,
That Paul Bunyan scare, by the way, that scared me
Yeah, that was cool.
because he was looking for it, and then all of a sudden Paul Bunyan was in his face with the monster teeth. Oh man! But then when it was on his shoulder and came down with the balloons, he goes, "I know your little dirty secret," and Richie looked horrified,
Yeah.
man. And I'm like, damn, dude, crazy, man. And then this is the part that me and Al were talking to you about last week. Was the part where, and this is one of the coolest parts of the movie, is when you realize there was scenes cut out of the first movie,
yes, and they did that right away.
and they didn't let you know until this one, and then you realize why you didn't know it. It's because they didn't remember it.
Yeah.
That was crazy too. How when they were like when he the guy played by the Old Spice guy. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
Mike.
Mike. When he was calling everybody up, he's like, "Mike, it's Mike."
Right. It took a second for them to remember who he
Yeah,
was. He's like,
because they didn't even have his number in their phones. Because if you looked at all their phones, it just says Maine.
Maine,
Yeah.
Terry Maine, yeah.
Yeah, Derry Maine or whatever. He's like Mike from there, and they're like, "Oh, yeah. How long's it been? 27 years."
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a nice twist of how they got away from Derry and they couldn't remember what happened.
Right.
You
But
know?
what I found funny was they couldn't remember him. They couldn't remember Derry, but none of them said no to coming.
Because you know what it was? Once they heard his voice, they all kind of remembered a little something.
It was like an echo, like in the back of their mind.
Am
or
I
something.
wrong in saying that some of them, when they got the phone call, they touched their hand?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
they all showed
they all
some
did,
kind
yeah.
of pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
From
So they
when
kind of
cut
like all of a
themselves.
sudden like, oh, that's where I got that mark from, because they made that agreement, or what do they
The
call it?
promise.
Yeah, the promise that they made at the end of first it. Sanj, I gotta know, man. What was your take on when they went to the Chinese restaurant?
That shit was hilarious.
Dude, that had the whole theater rolling, man. Richie is awesome.
Yeah. That was so hilarious. And then it was hilarious when they started like busting up the table and everything when the demons started coming out of the
cookies.
fortune cookies.
Right.
So
right.
and then like the girl comes in and was like, "Is everything okay here?" And they're like, "Check, please."
But like Al said in that last podcast, man, which was, you almost felt like you wanted to be a part of that.
I
Because
felt like I was part of it.
That
sitting there.
reunion was awesome.
I was like
man.
sitting,
Yeah.
not for nothing. I'm gonna give some shit away here,
Go.
personally, because obviously we do a podcast. I sit and listen to our podcast too,
Right.
And then as I'm sitting listening to us, I sit there and laugh again, and like I feel like I'm back in while we're recording, and like
right.
I'm like cheesing while I'm driving down, and like laughing hysterically and stuff like that. I was like laughing hysterically. I didn't want to be at the table. I felt like I was at the table.
Right.
You know, and I was like laughing hysterically, and like I got
Yeah.
really hungry because they were eating food. And whatnot.
I know the food looked ridiculous.
I know, yeah,
and
yeah.
Chinese food, man. If
Yeah,
it's done right.
yeah,
oh.
exactly, right?
But I mean, even the jokes Richie was making on Eddie still, you
Still
know.
talking about his mother. Oh my god.
Oh, you didn't hear who I married? This is your mother. And then when he tried to talk like Jabba the Hutt.
That was great.
That is hilarious, man. But before they got even to the thing when they got that phone call, I thought it was pretty interesting. I just wanted to see your take out because we couldn't really get deep into it this last week.
Yeah.
What do you think about seeing all the characters pretty much dealing with the same issues that they left Derry with? They're as adults, they're still dealing with the same kind of thing. You saw Eddie was still dealing with someone who was kind of telling them what to do.
He basically
Yeah, he
married
married his mom. You know what was interesting was the actress who plays his mother was playing his wife,
Yes.
just without the body costume.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was the same
Yeah,
actress.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
she
same
had a
actress.
different costume on and black
But then he
makeup
also
and look.
calls her mom.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
accidentally called her mom.
Because he
he's
basically
like, "What?"
married his mom.
Yeah. Dude,
But-
Jessica Chastain's. Oh
Yeah.
my God, dude. When her husband hit her and
Yeah.
was like very forceful.
I didn't think that was necessary. Like those like certain like sometimes when I see stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, we didn't have to do that.
Dude, there was a lot of times I said that in that movie, man. But
Yeah.
it almost felt like, they had to go there, man.
Good, yeah, because you
Did
got to
they
show.
really have to?
I know, right? But they had to show that she's still dealing with someone just like her dad.
Yeah,
You know?
abusive. Yeah, so she had an abusive relationship with her father. Now she's having an abusive relationship with her husband. But it was good because it showed that even though they got away, they all still had something they were dealing with.
Right.
So it was good. Go ahead, Ton.
I will say this since you bring up Jessica Chastain's character. That was my only disappointment for It Chapter 2. It Chapter 1, I felt like Bev's character was a
Right.
lot stronger. Even though she was dealing with the abuse and everything at home.
She was very strong in the first one.
You felt like she was just a very strong character because remember how she reached out to which character was it that she reached out that she called New Kid?
Bill.
Bill.
Bill,
No,
Ben,
it
Ben,
wasn't
Ben.
Ben. Sorry.
Ben.
Like she's the one that reached out to Ben, and even with everything that she was dealing with, she kind of helped him a little bit deal with what he was going on with, and that's what kind of sparked their relationship or their friendship, right?
Right.
So she was still able to do good things for other people while dealing with her own issues, and I just felt like the adult version of Bev was just weak. And she didn't really add much to it, and she was very much an accessory to everything. And anytime anything happened in part 2,
Right.
she was just kind of there. Bev was strong throughout part 1, and then she had that moment where she stood up to her father and everything. So
Right.
and
She stood up to it too.
and she stood up to it. So she was a very strong character in part 1, and I just felt like she was an accessory in chapter 2. Like I did not think that Bev would have grown up to be
Yeah,
the
you thought a little bit
character
more stronger.
that they made her to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
man.
I felt like she should have had a bigger role and more of a prominent role in the story. But again, that's just me. I was considering how everyone else grew up and kind of grew into their own.
Yeah. Didn't hit you right.
Yeah.
I got you, man. I got you. Because even like with, like I told you guys in the movie with Bill, as much as I like Bill's character and I like James McAvoy, I didn't like the way James McAvoy completely did Bill in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the only one I didn't really see as Bill or as their character that was in the past. Even though he did his thing, like I liked his callback, which was going to the drain where his brother was taken.
And getting the boat. Yeah.
Yeah, and try to get the boat back, and that was pretty interesting.
I
too,
thought he was
man.
gonna come out of that without an arm, bro. Like, I really thought his arm was done.
Yeah, man, but his test was crazy, man. I mean, because this is something that I wanted to ask you guys because this deals with Bill's part also. Was that kid real? Was that little kid real?
I don't know.
Because I think it was made to make
I
him
think,
feel
yes,
more
you know what,
about his brother.
I will say yes that he's real. Let me tell you why. Because remember when they were at the Chinese restaurant,
Right,
the parents came and got the kid.
right, but the parents didn't say anything. They just saw somebody yell at their kid and almost grab him by the shake him almost, and they didn't say anything. They just kind of took their kid and walked away.
It's Derry. It's
And-
weird in Derry.
But now,
Right.
could that have been real? And then everything after with the kid imaginary? Because
that could have. Yeah.
in the playhouse, the kid disappears.
Right, the kid disappears.
No, but there's the whole blood and everything.
No, but it's gone.
it goes away. It goes into a mirror.
The light flashes, and then that scene behind the window is gone. There's
Without a doubt, that girl under the stands is done.
nothing. Yeah.
Dude, that was scary though, because
That
he
was
goes
scary.
on the count of 3. He goes 1, 2, and then he just spaces out.
Yeah, and she's like, But you have to say yes.
That was scary. Yeah.
That was scary.
But man, even like that mirror scene with the kid in the mirror, when you saw it or you saw Pennywise there banging his head on the glass to break the glass, I was starting to get my heart racing, man. I was like, holy crap. And you see Bill trying to kick the window in, the mirrors in and everything. Oh man. I wonder if that was more of a test for Bill or something for Bill to feel like I failed another kid again. You know, besides my brother, I failed this kid.
Him down.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of like Eddie's like retrieval? He had to go get his little thing. He had to go back to the pharmacy. I think it was funny to see that girl still working at the pharmacy at 27 years later.
Oh, and the father too was still there.
You know what?
The
The only thing I would have added to that scene was if the girl like to ask him, "Did your dick heal?" Like, you know, because remember in the first one, she was making dick. She's like, "Well, what you have is like it's gonna make your dick fall off or something like that." Or
oh my God!
But yeah, I thought that even that scene was
right, because it was if I'm right, the scene was his mom was like tied down to a chair.
Yeah.
And something was gonna come.
He dipped on his mom's. He's like, I can't do this. I'm out.
Oh my goodness, man! And then, I'm trying to think of who else. So Richie had the clown show up as Paul Bunyan, right?
Yeah.
And so Eddie had the basement of the pharmacy. Bill had the kid go into the fun
But Bill
house.
also had the scene where he retrieved the boat from the sewers. So like I think Bill had like more, more elements to his tests.
And how about, I know, Sanj, you had thought that in the first one, the bully, what was his name? The bully from the first one, Henry Bowers.
Yeah, Bowers. Yeah.
What'd you think of him being alive and still there, and then seeing the red balloon?
I thought that was crazy.
That was scary also. You know, Sanj, the more I think about it, it was a pretty scary movie.
Yeah, and then you got his zombified friend driving the car and shit.
Oh, well, how about when he opened the balloon was coming out of the bed?
Yeah, and then it's him, and like, yo.
But that's what I was saying. It was more a lot of jump scares.
Yeah, more jump scares
than anything. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think about the movie too, and I don't remember it being scary like that. But there was
terrified.
a lot of scary scenes.
I was terrified.
Yeah. Oh my God, man!
But the one thing about that whole scenario with the artifacts and the tokens,
right?
I just found it an interesting story plot that their whole strength against him came from being together. But for the majority of the movie, they're made to be apart.
Right.
So I didn't understand like why they felt okay. Yeah, everybody go do it on their own. Like I don't understand.
But if you remember, even Richie said it too. He goes, "That's crazy. We're gonna die separately." But Mike was like insistent that no, this part has to be done alone. But the reason he did that was he was saying, "You guys don't remember the things that happened to us," and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And that's when they did that thing that I loved about the movie, which was where it connected it to the first one, where he goes, "You guys don't remember what happened when we broke up." You know,
and he took it back.
And
to
it
the
went
fight
back
scene.
to that scene where they fought each other, where they were arguing after they went into the Neibolt house. And when they were arguing after the Neibolt house, they all went their separate ways. And then they showed us all the things that they went through when they went their separate ways. Now, there was a couple things there I think they could have cut out and stuff like that, because that made the movie super long. But at the same time, I get that. It showed that they all went through something else besides what we know. You know, and that was pretty cool. Like Ben went to his high school, and I think he saw Beverly with her hair on fire.
Yeah.
And it ended up being Pennywise.
Yeah, because he was sitting there and like he was trying to like go kiss her and whatnot, and then it turns into Pennywise, and no, before that she's like, "Oh, like, gross, you? No, as a friend, like, oh, why would anybody want to be with you?" And then it turns into Pennywise.
Was insane, man. And then it showed Richie having that moment in the arcade.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you finally get, like, even at first, I didn't get it at first. When I was watching it happen, I was like, that was a long, like, pound. You know, like, everybody gives each other a pound when they see each other. But when he did it, I was just like, that was a little extra on the fingers there.
And then you realize what it is.
Like, you realize, I'm like, oh, shit, okay, I get this. So you see that he went through that. And it was crazy because they all went through these separate things, and then they came back to real life, and there they are being chased by it again. You know, and I found it kind of interesting that Ben always had his token on him. He never let go of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was in his wallet the whole.
He said it was.
thing
He's the
was in
only
his
one that
wallet.
kept it in his wallet. He said he didn't have to find his token. I thought it was a little weird that Stan's token was the shower caps. That's pretty funny, man.
So we didn't talk about Stan.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
That was sad.
In the beginning, yeah, but
That
you
was
know
so
what's
sad.
crazy is when we get towards the end of it, man. We know why he did it, which was kind of crazy too. But at least it made it make somewhat sense because in the beginning we just thought that he was just too scared, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
That's
the
what I thought,
assumption,
yeah.
like, oh shit, he's really scared to even go back or wonder what happened there.
But what's crazy is that Bev knew.
Right. And you know what's funny? You watch the first one, and in the first one, when they're talking after it disappears in the little pipe, whatever, he goes away. They all come out together to make that oath to come back if something comes back. She says, "I remember seeing you guys or seeing us as we were older." And then she just like weirdly said something. And in this movie, she tells Stan, "Oh yeah, I see you in the future," and she didn't because you could tell in her face she wanted to say something. She didn't.
Oh
say
yeah, he
it.
goes, how did I look in the future? And she goes,
The same.
Oh, she's like the same, just
same.
just older.
Right, and right there you're like,
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So I mean, like that's pretty much like the middle and the beginning of the movie right there. And I think, like I said, that movie kept me entertained for something that was a little long in the tooth there in that movie. I was entertained all the way to there. And right around when they started getting all their tokens, I started to say to myself, I'm like, damn, dude, we haven't even got to the Neibolt house or towards the end or where it lives.
They spent a lot of time doing individual scenes where they were chased by Pennywise in some form.
Right.
They spent a lot of time doing that. I feel like they could have cut that down a little bit.
What did you call it last week? It wasn't a flash forward or a flashback.
a flash
Flash
fill.
Phil.
That's exactly the way to describe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just filled into some of the little holes that we didn't see and stuff like that. Now, after the fun house with Bill and the kid, he feels like this is the only way I'm going to kill this thing, is to go to where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to the Neibolt house, and they all kind of figure that that's where we're going to go, to the Neibolt house. And the Neibolt house is pretty cool, man. This is where Brandon had this little take that I didn't realize it at first, but do you guys remember when in the first one when they had those 3 doors, scary, not scary,
Yes.
not so scary?
Yeah.
When they opened the not so scary door, it was a girl hanging, and Richie goes, "Where are her legs?"
Oh yeah.
In this movie, when they open that door, it's just legs that run out.
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's where the legs were.
I didn't catch that.
That- I didn't catch that
and they
either.
opened a different door. That's right. Yeah.
Because the first one, he goes, "Where are her legs?"
The best was their little debate on what door to open. They're like, no, he's fucking with us. He's fucking with us. And then it was like, next time we definitely take the one that just says scary or whatever. He's like, what the fuck? Why would there be a next time?
Oh my god, man! Wait, how did the Pomeranian come into this? I know they mentioned it
because
earlier.
they said that remember they said that it has to abide by the natural law of whatever form it takes. And then he's like, what if it's a puppy? That'll make it easy. It'll be a puppy. And then like a small one, a Pomeranian. Like they were very, very specific about what type of puppy it would be and everything. So that when they open the door and it's a puppy, like, all right, fuck yeah, we can do this.
And they're like, but it is really freaking cute though.
And then they would like give it like they would get up and they're like sit, and they would like sit back down. They're like, look, we can do this, like, you know.
And then it's, rah!
And then it turned into the demon. You know?
Oh man. So listen, let's get to the end of this thing here. Al, what did you think of like towards the ending that whole fight or battle against it when they get through the catacombs or through the caves or whatever they went through down there?
Well, I'm gonna touch on. I don't know if we want to go into the final scene, but it kind of started my issue and my concern with his appearance, the Pennywise, the clown. They never really explained why he kept reverting to that form, and I thought they were gonna do that when Jessica Chastain or Bev went back to her old apartment.
Right.
And they showed the old woman that's living there with the pictures. And I thought we were going to get a background as to why it was constantly... Because we find out from Michael that it's an alien that
Right.
landed there. And it was feeding, feeding had been here for millions of years or who knows how long.
Right.
So now, if it's and I'm assuming that form in the flashback was its original form. Why now? Since whenever this guy in the apartment pictures, why does it keep reverting back to his form?
To the clown.
Yeah, to the clown. Why is it always the clown? To the point where even when during the battle, it's a big spider. The top part of it is still the clown.
Clown itself. I think the main reason it's the clown still is because that's what they all feared. Is Pennywise himself, because that's how they know him.
Richie feared clowns.
Richie feared
the rest
clowns.
of them feared different things. Nobody really was. He was the only one to voice that he was. That's why when he went into the room, it was all the clowns because he was afraid of clowns.
Right.
So that made me wonder why then is he always taking on the form of a clown, even when
Right.
he was appearing to when he appeared to Georgie, when he appeared to the little girl, when he appears to everybody, he's appearing as a clown.
I mean, I guess because he was targeting children, and for the time period, the
Maybe the
easiest thing to
clown.
do. I mean, kids would react to a clown.
But then
Maybe.
why during the battle when
Right. He should have just been a big spider kind of
yeah,
thing.
and or when they weren't afraid of it anymore. I mean, why was he still a clown? Like,
Right.
to the point where he even shrank and was just like a little baby clown. Like,
Yeah.
like their fear of him didn't go anywhere. Why doesn't he revert back to his original form?
I got you.
You know,
Yeah.
even if it is just the lights, because I think somewhere I heard that was his original form with the lights.
The three lights.
Yeah. So
Well,
then, why doesn't he assume his original form or
Yeah.
something other than the clown? And I guess I was that's why I said I would want to read the book to see if maybe he
why.
explains there
Gotcha.
where that form came from and why he stuck with it.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Because I was curious about that. Because I know in the TV movie, it's a big spider kind of thing. That's the ending form of Pennywise or it, right? But in this movie, man, like I always saw it as that's how they all knew him. Because even when they had that in the first one, they all were like they didn't know that each other saw him, but they said, "Oh, it's a clown." So they all kind of recognized Pennywise as just this clown that's terrorizing the area or Derry there. But in this one, man, even the ending for me, I that last part we were talking about where it turned into a little baby clown, that's where it got like too far for me. I'm like, I also wondered the same thing. I'm like, all right, I get that they don't believe in him, but he's still something. So why isn't he not reverting back to what he is to fight them off? But he turned into this baby clown because they believed he was a clown.
Yeah. And then the fact that in the first
Yeah.
one, I felt like they fought him how they should have fought him here. Like there was a lot more striking. Like, here they fight him, and they go, "Oh, okay, let's make him." There's what did Michael say? There's more. There's more than one way
to make
to
somebody
make someone
small.
small. So they start insulting him. Like
Right.
that's like where I was like, all right, for this to be the final battle, all they're doing is throwing.
You're just a
insult-
clown.
You're just a yeah. I was like, I
hear
would have
you.
liked. I mean, for it to be the climax of the second final movie,
a
like,
fight.
Yeah, I would have thought there'd be more of.
Yeah.
That fight should have been how the first one ended, and that
Right.
explained why they didn't really get to kill him because all you did was insult him,
Right.
and now you kill him. But then again, it goes back to the joke. Remember, like the joke with what's his name? Bill's character as a writer was they were always making fun that his endings sucked.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was that they say that about Stephen King. So I wonder if this
Yeah.
is what they're talking about.
How about for you, Sanj, man? What'd you think of the ending?
Lacking.
Right, I felt the same way.
The ending was lacking. Like I don't want to really add too much to what Al says because it's very much what I was thinking. Like he's a little clown. Like that's how we're
yeah,
gonna end
and they
this.
took his heart out.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
the alien itself couldn't come up with another form, or let's see what it really is, or I just a couple of things weren't very well explained overall. Like it's still a good movie and everything. but
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it terrified me. I'm not gonna lie. It's a terrifying movie.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think one of the coolest scenes in the ending fight though was when Richie was about to take a last shot at him, throw a spear at him, and then the lights came on.
Yeah.
It froze him right there when he was talking. He's like, "I'm gonna," boom.
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa, shit, that's crazy."
You'll float too.
Oh my god, man! And what you guys think of like Eddie dying in the movie? But I mean, he did step up towards the end because like throughout the movie, he was completely terrified, as any of us probably would be too.
Yeah.
But he, Richie helped him stand up
Yeah.
and believe that he could do something. He said, "This is a clown killer, or
Yeah.
this is
No, Bev told him that this kills clowns.
Right.
If you believe it.
right.
Yeah.
So what'd you guys think of like Eddie passing away,
It was
man?
sad. But I mean, I don't like when it's all happy ending or whatever. There was some
Right.
sacrifice. So
Absolutely.
somebody had to bite it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then
Glad it wasn't Mike.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
for
Mike.
it to be on that point, like you said, he had failed them two other times.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, he let things happen a couple
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
So for it to be him that finally steps up and throws it was
And then
touching.
he gives them the final idea of what to do,
Mhm.
you know, by saying what he says. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, like one of the movie parts that like almost had me going with, man, was at the end when they actually, killed off it and they got away from it. They jumped into the that pond or the big jump that they go to. I forgot what they call it.
The reservoir.
Right. And I guess they were kind of like wiping away everything that they just went through and everything. But when they came out of the water and Richie was just like crying,
Yeah, because he's usually the asshole.
dude. But the way Bill Hader did that, man, I mean, I know him as a comedian and all that stuff like that. But that scene right there, that got me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the pain. I felt like, dude, he just lost it, man.
Everything. Just everything. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man! What a good movie, man.
Mhm.
Am I right in saying like, It Chapter 2 is good? It's epic.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
long. It's great. But if you didn't watch It Chapter 1,
No, it doesn't stand. That movie doesn't stand well on its own because there's too much to call back to. Like right off the bat, when it starts with the scene with young Bev, you know, where she's still in the trance,
Mhm.
and then jumps straight to where she's telling them about how she saw us as grown-ups and everything.
yeah,
You wouldn't understand what that is.
yeah,
You'd just be like, oh, okay, there's backstory here,
right,
you know, and then you would fill in. You feel like, all right, you'll fill it in as you go along, because it does fill in as it goes along. But if you had watched the first movie, it would be more poignant.
yeah. And like I was telling you guys, I hate always referring back to like the Infinity War and all that stuff like that. But like the callbacks to
Yeah.
the first It was just really cool. I mean, granted, it's only 2 movies, but it's
Yeah.
just like the callbacks to it were very like, oh, okay, I see what you did there, I guess the last question on this is like, what do you guys think of like finding out that Stan was not only just terrified, but he wanted to take himself out of the chance of failing them or failing the team and letting this thing continue. So it was more of like, it's weird to say, but like a good reason that he committed suicide. But at the same time, it took away the fact that he wasn't just scared. He wanted to help, still do it.
But was his helping because he was scared? Because wasn't his premise in the thing was he knew that they all needed to face him, and I think he doubted his ability to go through with it.
Right. So
That
that's
was
why
the
he
take.
didn't-
That was the take I took when I
Yeah.
heard, because so in essence he took himself off the table, so that there technically wouldn't be anybody missing because he wasn't alive to be missing.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what he did. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It just made me real sad.
Yeah.
Right.
The
It
fact
definitely
that-
did.
You know, his character went out the way that it did. It kind of made me think of like Robin Williams
Right.
a little bit, and we know Robin Williams' story,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I like I said, there was a lot of things in this movie that was just like a little tough to watch. And again, I know what they were going for and they were trying to do, but at the same time, it's like almost like you always wonder, like, was it necessary to show all that or do all that? But I think they were
Yeah.
trying to stay true to the book and stay true to some of the things that thoughts and theories.
I like when they do stay true, regardless of whether it's good cinema or not. I like when they stay true to books and original stories. To me, that would be more a question for Stephen King of like, why would you want to do that story that way?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, like they're just working with the source material. Whoever made the movie is just
Yeah.
Yeah.
working with the source material,
And I like-
it's
but-
there.
But I like the way the director took some of it, and stayed true to the story, the book as he could, while
Yeah.
not including everything. Because
It would have been
apparent-
much longer.
no, not only that, apparently the ending of the first one was a totally different scene.
Oh, really?
Like it wasn't just them holding hands.
Oh,
The-
yeah.
Well, no, we
yeah.
can't. No.
Yeah, but that's
I know
what I'm
what you
saying.
mean.
Like, so I like the fact that he
Yeah,
knew
there's certain
when.
things you can't go there.
I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
where he
yeah.
knew
And I'm
where
very
to
glad that
stray.
they chose
yeah.
not-
Yes.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
again, these are questions I would have for Stephen King. Like,
like what were you thinking? Like,
I know what you were thinking. Why would you put that on paper? Like,
Right.
and share that with the world? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
some
like
things, even if it goes through your mind, buddy, like some things you just should not put on the paper. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, man. Like I know, like the scene where in the beginning, where you know they killed the two guys in the beginning of the movie. Not killed them, but they beat them up pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's actually from a story that he witnessed or a story that he
Yeah, it
saw
really happened. I think
in a town that he lived in.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know, he wanted to put that part in there, how ugly, you know, the world was at the moment.
Yeah.
And there's a
Still
couple of
is.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, overall, man, Sanj, what's your take on the movie?
if you saw It Chapter 1, you have to go see It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The story's incomplete, but and still overall, I thought it was a great movie, and I enjoyed it very much, and it works very well to be seen in a theater.
Would you ever watch both movies back to back?
Yes, I would.
Because the director's working on a supercut. He said
Oh,
he even
wow.
wants to film another scene or two that he wants to add into this movie to just make it a complete
One movie.
one movie. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Do we get a bathroom break?
Pause
I
button.
I mean, I'll definitely have to go potty.
Yeah. How about you, Al? Man, what's your thoughts on the movie after the fact? and everything?
Well, as a whole, both of them were good. I like 2. Like I said, I think on the last podcast where we talked about it, it kept me entertained. It kept my attention focused on the movie and the events of the movie. My only issue with it is that it relied too much on the events of the first one
Yeah.
without explaining. Okay, fine, those were their fears as children, but there should have been more focus on the fears and issues that they were having as adults, and showing that they were that they had overcome the fears of the children that they had as children, and now as adults,
What are they going through now?
what are they going through? Because, like, for example, to lead the movie with Jessica Chastain's character being abused by her husband, and then you basically don't go back to that.
Right.
Like, now the only issues she's trying to overcome is what she went through as a child.
Right.
Like they rely, and this is, I think, and I said it last time, they rely too much on bringing the kids back in.
You know what it is, man? I think that this movie honestly would have benefited from being a 3-parter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then you could have this like middle part where you're blending the younger kids with the older kids, and then that last movie is just all about the older side of these children when they're 27 years later. That way you would be more impacted by some of the stuff that you're seeing with the adults. But because they made it just 2 movies,
I'm glad they made it. I'm glad they
Yeah.
made it just 2, because
Yeah.
then the whole purpose of that, like, we would have just had to pay for a third movie.
I hear you. But like, don't you feel like there wasn't enough of the adults?
No, I felt like there was a good enough
Yeah.
amount of the adults. I definitely agree with Al where
Yeah.
it does rely too much
Right.
on what happened as kids, and like they did do a lot of flash fills. I like your term, Al. But it's to me the story did center around what they were doing as adults and,
Right.
and the adult part of the story. But so in that sense, I don't think it didn't focus enough on them. But
Yeah.
it did focus a lot on
the kids
on
part
what
of it.
happened as kids.
Yeah.
And I just it didn't resolve, a lot of it as well.
Right. Now, what's your take on this last thing? This is the last question here for It Chapter 2. There's people who are saying because this movie is so successful, It Chapter 1, Chapter 2, making so much money, since it is around every 27 years, there's stories to tell that happened before these kids were there. There was the 27 years before that, the 27 years before that, 27 years before that. Are you guys interested in a prequel?
Yes, definitely. I want to see It Origin.
That I would like to see, the first event.
Like
Yeah.
it, and because with the fact that it's dealing with, it looks like Native Americans.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Just this, you can do so much with what a movie like that would look like.
Right.
And the interaction there with the entity or whatever, how it gets here, the form it would take, like what it would look like, right?
At that time, yeah.
At that time, because since we're talking about why does it look like Pennywise the clown, right? And then maybe a one after that to explain
Right.
how it takes on Pennywise the clown. But yeah, I definitely want to see that It Origin.
That would be awesome, man. How about you, Al?
Yeah, same thing. I wouldn't want to see something like in the 18th century and everything, because at that point you knew it beat people in the past,
Right.
and you knew it was still going to be around for many years after. So like that kind of a story would almost not be.
It wouldn't add anything
It
to it
add
for you.
anything.
It's just
But seeing the first story, seeing him break those people down to the point where their solution wasn't to fight him anymore, they had to give up and they left. That was their solution to him, was
Right.
taking up residence outside of the town.
like, let's just move 10 miles down the road.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
But to see that breakdown
Yeah.
of their will and of their, because they're proud, especially Native American people, they were proud people. Their home was their home, their land was their land. So to see them get broken down to the point where they said,
wait.
we're relocating.
This just hit me then. So is it an allegory for the colonizers?
Maybe.
Damn, son.
Deep. Just got deep on them. Oh, man. That's great, man. So, listen, man. Thank you guys for entertaining me with those answers, man. That's awesome. So, listen, to everybody out there, man, you can find us on the realfanreview.com. That's our website there. You can send us an email at therealfanreview@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Google, iTunes, everything. Just Google us. You'll find us. All right. So just if you guys have any questions, any suggestions, email us. Let us know. Thank you for listening. Coming from Sanj, Al, and myself, Hav. We thank you guys as always, and we'll catch you next week.